Bruce Springsteen used to be my hero.
Does he listen to the show?
Yes, he does. He calls me up
That is
after the show.
amazing.
He does. All the
Bruce, how you
big
doing,
guys.
man?
Hey, Bruce, you were my hero, man. You used to reserve the front row. You used to say this area. You used to do all these things. And now your tickets are stupid money on concerts that aren't as good as your concerts like 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know if Bruce wanted to hear this.
Welcome back to Under Oath. Ticketmaster and Live Nation. The government has broken out the baseball bat. Said, no mas. You shall not pass.
Uh-huh.
You know what's going on with that, right?
I do. And I think it's a good idea. I think monopolies are a bad
Why?
thing.
It's not fair. My 22-year-old producer said, why? I don't understand. Why can't you have monopolies?
Monopolies are terrible. They're terrible. They create unrealistic expectations for venues. They use their monopoly to force people to do things they wouldn't otherwise do. Like, oh, hey, we're not going to bring these 3 artists to your town anymore or your arena unless you accept all 7 of these. And you might not want all 7 of those, but you have to take them now because Ticketmaster or whoever has the monopoly says you have to take them. And if you don't, you're not getting the big star in December. You got to take the crappy stars in September. And if you don't take the crappy stars in September, then you're not getting the big stars in November.
And you know where all
That's
this
unfair.
And you know where all this started from?
Yeah, I don't.
We call in the Wambulance because people couldn't get tickets for Taylor Swift.
The Wambulance.
The Wambulance. We're calling the Wambulance. I didn't get my Taylor Swift tickets. And those tickets were stupid money prices. Because here's a scam that Ticketmaster does. Ticketmaster, based on demand, can quadruple the price and they become their own scalper. They scalp their own tickets.
Disgusting.
Scalp them. They
Disgusting.
go, well, the tickets are $200, but since the high demand, we're going to charge $3,000 a ticket.
Yeah, we bought a big block of tickets as an investment.
Yes. They don't even buy it. They
We
have
didn't
them.
even offer them to sale to the general public. We bought them ourselves first to resell.
Now, Taylor says it's not her fault.
That's exactly why monopolies are bad, because they do stuff like that. People are greedy. Companies are greedy.
Sick.
They will do this until you stop them from doing it.
But you know who used to defend this?
I'm a big free trade guy. I like capitalism as much as the next guy. But they're at some point, and when you hit a monopoly, you're at that point, you've gone too far.
What is too far?
A monopoly where you buy all the tickets as an investment and then rescalp your own tickets. That's when you have a monopoly.
Now, I want to say something to Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen used to be my hero.
Does he listen to the show?
Yes, he does. He calls me
That
up
is
after
amazing.
the show. He does. All
Bruce, how
the
you
big
doing,
guys.
man?
Hey, Bruce, you were my hero, man. You used to reserve the front row. You used to say this area. You used to do all these things. And now your tickets are stupid money on concerts that aren't as good as your concerts like 10 years ago.
Well, I don't know if Bruce wanted to hear this.
He knows it.
Okay.
He knows it. The fact is this, Bruce, now you're doing a money grab. Love your music, but you're doing the money grab now. You're allowing these companies to rip off your fans. And that was something you were always against. And I know you feel forced to do it because if you don't go with Ticketmaster, you don't go with anybody else. I don't know if he has an exclusive deal now with Ticketmasters as far as North America goes, but I know Taylor Swift, I know all these artists are being forced to use Ticketmaster.
The only game in town. You can't do any concert unless you agree that you're not going to do any concert except for ours.
Now, a lot of our listeners don't understand why the government can shut down a monopoly. What right does a government have to tell a company it can't eventually be the best and own everything? I worked hard. I did everything right.
The Sherman antitrust law is what allows the government to step in and say, nope. This capitalism thing, it's gone too far. It is now counterproductive. You are now taking advantage of the fact that you don't have competition. They'll even force companies sometimes to sell off pieces of itself. Yep. Sometimes the company would be like, for example, a bread manufacturer. We own the farm. We own the trucking company that brings the wheat from the farm to the plant. We own the plant.
So I got too big.
Correct.
I got too big.
And in a situation like that, they say, oh, no.
I was just better than everybody else.
You got to sell that trucking portion of it. You got to sell the farming portion of it. We're not going to let you control all of it because you'll charge $95 for a loaf of bread.
So we're saying right now that I have to go, I'm great at what I do. I just can't be too great.
Correct. Correct. Yes, that's exactly.
So I have to
the
slow
case.
my roll.
Yes.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like iPhones. Every year a new iPhone comes out, and it's not that good. They could give us a better chip.
You swear by the iPhone.
I
What
do.
do you mean it's not that good?
Compared to everything else, yeah. But I mean, the fact is iPhones, they have a better chip that they could stick in this phone right now, and they don't do it because they're thinking about 5 years from now. We're going to put this good chip in 5 years from now. We're not going to put it in today because we have to keep selling
5 years of selling these
of
crappy
mediocre
chips.
phones. And it's so weird
And
because
that's the kind of thing you can do when you don't have to innovate because you're not afraid of your competition because you don't really have any competition.
you know who doesn't put up with this? Europe. Europe will smack a big company every chance they get. Like, remember how
Give me an
iPhones?
example.
Okay, iPhones had the lightning cable.
Yes.
That lightning cable
That they
only worked.
manufactured just for their phone. Yeah, that is incredibly annoying. And it doesn't work for the last year's model. So
Yes.
if you get the new iPhone, all your accessories are now obsolete. You know why? Because Apple hates its customers. They hate
they
you.
do.
They hate me. They hate anybody that buys their product. And they stick it to you every time they can.
You know what happened? Steve Jobs said it the best. He said, I make this for the consumer. I look for what the consumer wants, not what I want, not what I think's cool. I want what the consumer thinks is cool. And that's why his weird ideas, you know what, maybe they want all their music in here. Just give it to them. And yeah, he has to tell 700 brilliant people to figure it out. But it was always about them. Apple shifted. We no longer care about what they want. We're still hoping that they think we're the cool, edgy company. And we're going to get away with this for a long time. And I mean, that's the problem we have. And here's a lot of people don't understand monopolies. Here's what happens with a company who has a monopoly. They no longer care about the consumer. They don't care about marketing. They don't care about advertising. They really don't even care about the quality of their product because what are you going to do? We're the only game in town.
That's why you need competition. You need
Exactly.
competition so they can't say things like, what are you going to do? What we're going to do is we're going to buy products from your competitor and you're not going to make any more money. That's what we're going to do if we have the option. But if you take away that option, you're stuck.
We have things right now. I really was hoping for a huge bump in technology because now our processors are real good. Our computers can do amazing things like AI is going to be frightening in the next couple of years. But the actual technology we're holding, the actual options on our devices haven't gotten better. I mean, it's so weird. What is the biggest technology advancement we've had in the last 5 years?
On phones?
Like on a phone.
The biggest advancement is they add an extra camera, an extra camera lens. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, nothing cool has happened.
I mean, it's going to look like a spider pretty soon. It's going to have like 18 eyes or however many eyes spiders have. The whole back of your phone is just going to be lenses.
And here's the problem. You have these phones come out. Oh, the new Pixar, it allows you to wipe somebody out of the photo. Oh, you mean like Photoshop and the apps did like 7 years ago?
Yeah, but now you can just press a button. You don't have to download an app.
You know what these officers...
You don't have to go into edit. You can just go beep.
These sounds like attorney commercials. That's what the new technology. They're attorney commercials. We don't get paid unless you get paid. You mean like it's been for the last 50 years? I mean, everyone's offering something that you've already had.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happens when competition falls, when things are controlled. And in our situation, I think you have Ticketmaster, who's going out there. And I'll say this, I think they are abusing people.
They are, but it's with good intentions. Because if you own stock in Live Nation, you want them to pull stuff like this. You want them to quadruple the price of their tickets. You want their profit to be so high that it's astronomical that people cannot believe your portfolio is that great. That's what you want. And they're trying to impress their shareholders with all these huge earnings. Look what we did.
Even if it's morally wrong.
There's no morally right or
Yes,
wrong
there is.
for a company.
Companies need to be held accountable.
Government comes in and says, stop. This is no longer morally right. And that's when you get the Sherman, say it with me.
The Sherman Antitrust Act.
There you go.
I remember it.
Okay.
I took it. There was a lot of bar exams. I saw it on.
Was that on any of your bar exams? Did they have?
I had to study for it, but it was never on.
Okay. All right.
The same way porn was never on it. We always had to learn about it, but nobody would ever write a question on a bar exam. So Ashley Madison, that was never on a bar exam. Now, the issue that I have here, and I look at this hundreds of times, companies do things like, for example, they every Christmas, 20,000 people got laid off. Let's bring the stock up. Okay. But then you have companies who are big entertainment companies who've been hiring overseas. They've been taking advantage of a law where you can get, there are specialty people who are very specialized in what they do. And we don't have a lot of those here. So that's the excuse. Okay. We're
talking about Cirque du Soleil when they got those Asian kids that are doing 90 flips in the air.
Also, it could be like a doctor or somebody who specializes in a certain area, or an actor. You could do that. But what they're doing now is hiring a bunch of IT people and bringing them over because they're willing to take $30,000 to $40,000 less.
Not because they have any particular skill that we don't have. Their skill is that they're willing to work for a lot less.
And here's what you're learning. We're living in a world now. When I said why they're going after Live Nation, nobody gave a damn about Live Nation or other monopolies that exist until it becomes an interesting topic where somebody can get some mileage off it. If it's sexy, we're going to go after you. Think about this. Taylor Swift. Ooh, Taylor Swift. That's going to get a lot of coverage. Now, if they wanted to go after like Bruce Springsteen, nobody cares about Bruce Springsteen anymore. We all go because we're old, but you don't have a bunch of, you don't have 13 to 16-year-olds in the stand with signs going, Bruce, Bruce. What we have here is a lot of people got screwed and they're going, oh, this is interesting. We can get mileage off this. Think about it this way. You know what also got mileage off of? Remember the big scandal of people paying to get their kids into college?
Doesn't everybody do that? Don't you have to pay the tuition to get into college?
No, I'm talking about giving a little extra.
Oh, bribing the admissions board? Yeah.
Or getting people to take your tests or doing stuff like that. Now, I can understand the test taking, but buying a wing, that was always part of the deal. You know, Harvard made a lot of their money from really crappy rich kids.
I don't mind if like someone,
but it was sexy,
gives a giant library to Harvard and then Harvard says, okay, well, your son can come here. We don't care how dumb he is.
When it comes down to it, I think it works like this, is that our government doesn't go after companies unless the person in that job thinks he can get enough clicks and likes off it. I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, half the crimes that get prosecuted now are based on, you know, whether this guy can get to the next level. Oh, I went after them. That's how I got to this level. And I keep bouncing forward by having sexy cases. Now, this is a sexy case.
Is it sexy because people are paying attention to it? I mean, isn't that kind of, in a weird way, a good thing? Because before the internet, you really didn't have a way to gauge people's interest in any particular thing. But now, since everybody from all over the country can weigh in on every single stupid topic that comes up, you can kind of see, all right, this is actually popular, or it's unpopular, and I should get away from it. Chasing down Ticketmaster, who's going to feel bad for Ticketmaster? When's the last time anybody bought a ticket? It was like, oh, poor Ticketmaster. I need to give them more money. Never.
Now let's talk about things. We talked about things that can happen with them. You know, breaking up the company completely. That can happen.
How do you break up a Ticketmaster, though? How do you break that up? Like into territories? Kind of like a utility?
Well, there are other ticket companies that are out there that can eat up some of it. And they say, maybe regionally, you can own. But then the problem with regional stuff is then that region
a monopoly for that region.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, but that's what happens with utility companies. They actually have a monopoly, and so their prices are regulated. They have to get their prices approved from the.
I don't mind having a board. I don't mind having to go to a board over something like this.
Yeah, but then everyone on the board gets corrupted.
Well, that's our government.
We
call that the White House, the Senate, the House of Representatives,
we don't like that.
Every federal judge. I mean, what are we talking about here?
The mistake. I think what you're saying is, oh, well, we've made the same mistake for so many years. Let's continue to make it. I disagree.